express sincere gratitude to all our people and to all other political parties, people's organizations, and public figures from all sectors of society. I express heartfelt appreciation to our fellow countrymen and women in the Hong Kong and Macau special administrative regions, in Taiwan and overseas. I also express heartfelt thanks to the governments of other countries, international organizations, and friends across the world who have shown understanding and support for us in China as we pursue modernization. While recognizing our achievements, we are keenly aware of problems and challenges that will confront us. The global economic strength lacks steams, and also the external environment is more complex, severe, and uncertain. And the growth at home is not solid enough, and the expectation is low, and many small and medium-sized enterprises face difficulties in their operation, and we have seen the pressures from overall job creation and employment problems. And also weak links for us to further enhance. And there is room for the government to improve its work. Pointless formality and bureaucratism remain acute. Some reform development steps have yet to fully implemented. We should face these challenges squarely and make every effort to deliver, do our utmost to live up to expectation and trust of the people.
2. Overall requirement and policy orientation for economic and social development in 2024. This year marks the 75th anniversary of the PRC. It is also a crucial year for achieving the objectives and tasks laid down in the 14th Five-Year Plan. For the government to deliver, it is important, under the strong leadership of the Party's Central Committee with Communist Xi Jinping at its core, to do the following. Follow the guidance of Xi Jinping thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. Implement the guiding principles from the Party's 20th National Congress and the second plenary session of the 20th Party Central Committee on the guidelines of the Central Economic Work Conference, adhere to the general principles of pursuing progress while ensuring stability, fully and faithfully apply the new development philosophy on all fronts, move faster, create a new pattern for development, and promote high-quality development. Deepen reform and opening up across the board, achieve greater self-reliance and strength in science and technology, strengthen macro-regulation, expand domestic demand and deepen supply-side structural reform, promote new urbanization and all-round rural revitalization in a coordinated way, ensure both high-quality development and greater security, boost economic vitality, prevent and diffuse risks, and improve public expectations, consolidate and build momentum for economic recovery and growth, continue to effectively pursue higher quality development, and properly increase economic output, improve the people's well-being, maintain overall social stability. These efforts will ensure that we make further progress in building greater country and advancing national rejuvenation on all fronts through Chinese modernization. A comprehensive analysis and assessment shows that China's development environment this year will continue to feature both strategic opportunities and challenges, with favorable conditions outweighing unfavorable ones. China has distinctive constitutional strengths, and our country's capacity for scientific and technology innovation continue to grow. And on the other hand, we should not lose sight of the challenges remaining. The main target for development this year are projected as follows. The GDP growth of around 5%. Over 12 million new urban jobs. Surveyed urban unemployment rate of around 5.5%. CPI increase of around 3%. Growth in personal income in step with the economic growth. A basic equilibrium in the balance of payments. grain output of over 650 million metric tons, a drop of around 2.5% in energy consumption per unit of GDP, continued improvement in the environment. In setting these targets, we considered involving a dynamic and home and abroad and other relevant factors, and it is not easy for us to realize these targets. We need policy support and joint effort from all fronts. We should adhere to the principles of pursuing progress while ensuring stability, promote stability through progress, and establishing new before abolishing the old. We should also be stabilizing employment and keep expectations economic growth stable. We should also take good care of formulating measures and overhaul and abolish policies regulation that hinder high-quality development. We should intensify counter and cross-clinical adjustment through macro policies. We should appropriately intensify our proactive fiscal policy to improve its quality and effectiveness. We have set the deficit to GDP ratio for this year at 3% and the government deficit at 4.06 trillion yuan, an increase of 160 billion yuan over the year 2023. This year, 3.9 trillion yuan of special purpose bonds for local government will be issued. And also, we need to systematically address funding shortage facing some major projects for building a greater country, advancing national rejuvenation. These funds will be used to implement major national strengths and build up security capacity in key areas. 1 trillion yuan of such bonds will be issued in 2024. The additional government investment is needed in many sectors this year. We also need to take efforts to meet the people's basic living standard and strictly control general expenditures. The central government will increase transfer payment to local governments for ensuring equal access to basic public services. Governments at the provincial level should allocate more physical resources at the low-level government to see to that at the primary level, the basic living needs are met. We also need to intensify the oversight on accounting. We should implement a prudent monetary policy in a flexible, appropriate, targeted, and efficient way. We should maintain adequate liquidity at the proper level and see that the aggregate financing and money supply stay in step with the project economic growth and CPI increase. We should work for the steady decline of our financing cost. We should ensure the stability of the capital market. The RMB exchange rate should remain generally stable at an adaptive balance level. We should also enhance the consistency for macro policy orientation, promote overall national development, strengthen coordination between fiscal, monetary, employment, industrial, and regional scientific and technological policies. Policy coordination should be enhanced so that we could form better synergies. In policy making, all localities and government departments should heed and draw on the propositions and views of our parties, and also address the concerns of the enterprise-related policies to build this better environment for the implementation of the policies. In order to fulfill development goals and tasks of this year, we must act on Xi Jinping's economic thinking and devote full energy to promote high-quality development, apply systematic thinking, pay attention to and properly handle major relationships, and develop in-depth plans to advance all areas of work and the overall structure in mind, and also promote high-quality development and make greater achievements. 3. Major tasks for 2024. The CPC Central Committee has adopted overall guidelines for this year's work. We must fully carry them out, stay focused on principal issues, and work to remove development bottlenecks. First, striving to modernize the industrial systems and developing new qualities, productive forces at a faster pace. We should steady foster new growth drivers and strengths and promote this new leap forward at productive forces. Work to upgrade industrial and supply chains, promote development of traditional businesses, and carry out technological transformation upgrading in the manufacturing sector. We will also promote the development of SMEs that use specialized and sophisticated knowledges. To produce novel and unique products, we will also provide stronger guidance support on quality and standards to create more Chinese brand with the global reach. We will actively foster emerging industries and future-oriented industries, and consolidate and enhance our leading position in industries such as intelligent connected new energy, vehicles, and promote development. We will promote innovative development of the digital economy. We will formulate policy to support high-quality development of the digital economy, actively develop the digital economy, transform traditional industry with digital technologies. We will step up R&D and application of big data and AI, launch an AI Plus initiative, and we will support the technological and digital transformation to boost the level of social governance. 2. Invigorating China through science and education and consolidating the foundation for high-quality development. We will develop a high-quality educational system, fully implement the party's educational policy, and regard high-quality development as the lifeblood of education in various types of lower levels, and also strengthen fundamental education and improve its quality. We will launch an initiative to upgrade basic education and accelerate high-quality, well-balanced development of urban-rural integration and compulsory education. We will enhance public interest preschool education and pilot comprehensive higher education reform. We will promote the ethos of educators and see that teachers are professionally competent, and speed up efforts to modernize education so as to lay a solid foundation for enhancing the well-being of our people and prosperity of our nation. We will move faster to boost the self-reliance and strengthen science technology. And we need to step up research and disrupting frontier technologies. We will strengthen the principal role of enterprises in scientific and technological innovation, encourage enterprises to increase investment in innovation, strengthen R&D application technologies to promote people's well-being. We will bolster intellectual property rights protection and formulate policies and measures for better application of S&T advances, so as to expand S&T exchanges and create an open and globally competitive innovation ecosystem. We will develop and make best use of talent in all sectors, adopt a more active, open, and effective policies on talent, develop hubs for high-caliber personnel and platform for attracting and gathering talents, and strengthen our support for young talents, and to build this evaluation system based on innovation-related merits, capabilities, and contributions. We will continue efforts to foster a favorable environment for talent development that enables talented people to unleash their full potential. 3. Expanding domestic demands and promoting sound economic flows. We will integrate the strategy of promoting steady growth in consumer spending remove limitations to cultivate new points of growth, and stabilize the expansion of conventional consumption, encourage and promote consumer goods trading programs, and boost spending on intelligent, connected new energy vehicles, electronic products, and other big-ticket items. Efforts to be made to upgrade elderly and childcare, housekeeping, and other services and make them more accessible. Improve the consumption environment. Will launch a year-long program to stimulate consumption so as to better meet the people's demand to improve the living standard. We will work to increase effective investment, fully leverage to stimulate the multiplier effect of government investment with a focus on supporting S&T innovation, new types of infrastructure, energy conservation, and carbon reduction initiatives. We will also be implementing the major projects included in the 15th five-year plan. We will also be ensuring that the social investment can play a bigger role in more fields.
Fourth, continuing to deepen reform and boosting internal momentum for development. We will further energize the market entities and continue to work to implement the two anti-borrowings for the business of all types to create an equal footing environment. We will further implement the reforms and upgrading of SOEs, and we will fully implement the development of the private sectors, and also continue to realize the policies and the matching policies in this regard. We will take steps to reduce logistic costs and also to work on preventing and settling overdue payments owed to private businesses. And we will also support and encourage entrepreneurship and support entrepreneurs in focusing on innovative development, seizing the initiative to make bold exploration, investing in new operation, leading their companies to greater success. We will move faster to build a unified national market. We will also focus on the development and also formulate guidance on standards for the development of a national unified market, establish unified rules and institutions covering areas such as the property protection and market access, fair competition, and social credit. We will for sure safeguard the market order and creating a fair competition. We will advance fiscal taxation and the financial reforms. We will step up a new round of the reform for the fiscal and tax systems, and we will further improve the financial support to promote the development in people's lives sector. Fifth, pursuing higher standards, opening up and promoting mutual benefits. And we will promote the increase of the volume and raise the quality of foreign trade for the new business molds, such as cross-border ecosystem and e-commerce. We will promote a healthy development and also foster and increase new growth drivers for foreign trade. The imports of high-quality goods will be boosted, and we will introduce more policies to boost the foreign trade and the domestic trade. And we will continue to further abolish the foreign investment in manufacturing, market access restrictions. We will treat the foreign investors equal and ensure national treatment for foreign funded enterprises practiced. And we will further upgrade the pilot free trade zones and develop them into a new peace sectors for opening up. We will strive for solid progress in high-quality Belt and Road cooperation. We support high-quality development of BRI and carry out the 8 major measures for supporting them. And we implement a number of small and beautiful projects for improving the people's well-being. And we continue to support the new international land-sea trade corridor. We will deepen multilateral, bilateral, and regional economic cooperation. And we work with more countries and the regions in signing and concluding high-standard free trade agreements and investment treaties. We participate in the reforming of the World Trade Organization and benefit people around the world. 6. Ensuring both development and security and effectively preventing and diffusing risks in key areas. We dealt with the greater confidence and about the risks, and we also to further consolidate the responsibilities of the enterprises and the government, and we continue to refine the realistic policies and make sure that the realistic industry can develop in a steady and healthy manner, and we will further improve the policies to diffuse risks. And for the small and medium financial institutions, we'll deal with them. In this regard, we will improve the long-term mechanism for preventing and controlling risks. We will step up our efforts in the housing market to create new models and guarantee the supply of the government-subsidized housing and improve the basic system for commodity housing to meet people's essential need for a home to live in and their different demands for better housing. We will develop government debt management mechanisms that meet the needs of high-quality development and improve monitoring and oversight system, and also to improve our capability to monitoring the risks in financial sector and prevent and controlling them. We'll build up our security capacity in key areas. We'll improve the system for green protection and also to build up the system for storing the resources, and also to make sure the industrial and supply chain operate in a secure and stable manner. 7. Making sustainable efforts to deliver in work relating to agriculture, rural areas, and rural residents, and taking solid steps to advance rural revitalization. And we will continue to roll out experience gained in the past and to see that we have seen and secured the substantial progress and the outcomes gained in each stage of rural revitalization. We will ensure stable production and supply of grain and other major agricultural products. We will keep the total green acreage stable and consolidate and increase the people's income. And we will make sure that we safeguard the right line layout in the planting, and for all the localities, we will shoulder the responsibility for ensuring national food security. As China has a large population, we must make sure that China's food supply remains firmly in our own hands. We will keep working to consolidate and expand our achievements in poverty alleviation. We will do everything we can to see that no large-scale return to poverty occurs. For the people moving from the hospital areas, we will continue the follow-up support for them, and we continue to consolidate and continue the gains from the poverty alleviation. We'll steadily advance rural reform and development. We launched a second round of contracts that will make sure that the extending rural land contract by another 30 years upon expiration. We will further increasing rural incomes and also pursuing rural development initiatives, improving the living environment, make sure that this is a beautiful place and harmonious place for people to live and work in. 8. Promoting integrated development between urban and rural areas, advancing coordinated development between regions and optimizing regional economic layout. We'll continue to boost the new urbanization in a coordinated way and also emphasize on the people moving to the cities. We will actively working on the permanent urban residency to eligible people who have moved to cities from rural areas, and also take care of the migrant workers to grant them a permanent residency, and also let them to enjoy the basic public service. New urbanization should be people-centered in every respect, and people can enjoy a higher quality of life. We will pursue better coordinated regional development. We will further improve our strategies for the large-scale development of the Western region, full revitalization of Northeast China, accelerated rise of the Central region, and a faster modernization of the Eastern region. We will support the development of Beijing, Tianjin, Hebei, the Yangtze River Delta, and the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area in better playing their role as drivers of high-quality development. And we will further boost the high-quality development of the Yangtze Economic Belt, as well as ecological conservation and high-quality development in the Yellow River Basin. And we will continue to practice the plan on the manufacturing agricultural zones. 9. Enhancing ecological conservation, promoting green and low-carbon development. Acting on the principle that loose sea waters and lush mountains are invaluable assets. We will make concerted efforts to cut carbon emissions, reduce pollution, pursue green development, and boost economic growth. We will take comprehensive steps to improve the environment, and we will continue to practice the action plan for improving air quality, and we will continue to work on the water resources, improve the quality of water, and we will promote DA practice in different zones, and we'll make sure that we win the battle of the three key areas. We will fully utilize the resources and also motivate people in protecting the environment. We will boost the green and low-carbon economy. We will push forward with the green transformation of the industrial structure, the energy mix, and the transportation sector, as well as urban and rural development. We will further improve the policies in support of the green development, as well as relevant market-based mechanisms. We will support development of the industry for recycling waste and used materials, and also to build China into a more green and low-carbon places. We will actively and prudently work toward peaking carbon emission and achieving carbon neutrality. We will carry out the 10 major initiatives to reach the goal, and we will also build up and advance the energy mix, make sure that we can ensure the energy supply and energy supply meet the needs.
10. Ensuring and improving the people's well-being and promoting better and new ways of conducting social governance. Acting on the people-centered development philosophy, we will fulfill our responsibility to meet people's basic needs and provide attention for those most in need, and make solid progress towards prosperity for all and promote social harmony and stability. We will take a wide range of steps to stabilize employment and increase incomes. And it is estimated that over 11.7 million students are due to graduate from college this year, and we must do more to promote employment for young people and also improve service and assistance to people in flexible incomes and improve people's income and expand the mid-income brackets. We will improve medical and health services. The government subsidies for basic medical insurance for rural and non-working urban residents will increase by an average of 30 yuan per person. Strengthen and deepen reform of public hospital, improve medical services with patient-centered approach, and also promote the preservation and innovation development of traditional Chinese medicines. We will advance the Healthy China initiative and patriotic health campaigns and build a strong line for defense to protect people's health. We will enhance social security and social services. The minimum basic old age benefits for rural and non-working urban residents will be raised by 20 yuan per month. Continue to increase basic pensions for retirees and improve the unified national management system for basic old age insurance funds. Boost the birth rate by refining patent leave policies and improve the mechanism for sharing related labor costs for employers. We will also be building the safety net for ensuring the basic needs for the people. We will enrich people's intellectual and cultural lives. We will gain a good understanding of Xi Jinping thinking on culture and act on it, and promote core socialist values, develop a philosophy, social sciences, press and publishing, radio, film and television, literature and arts, archiving and other programs. We will promote the development of a cultural industry and also develop this cultural sector. We will safeguard national security and social stability, take a holistic approach to national security, strengthen national security system, strengthen workplace safety and disaster prevention, mitigation, relief efforts to local communities, and prevent major accidents from happening. We will also be strengthening services at the local level and ensure the legitimate rights for the vulnerable groups. We will apply and further develop the Fengqiao model for promoting community-level governance in a new era to better prevent and resolve disputes and promote law-based handling of public complaints. Crack down legal criminal activities of all types in accordance with the law so as to better pursue the Peaceful China initiative. Fellow deputies, the new mission on our new journey demands new and higher standards for what we do in the government. All of us in the government at every level must acquire a deep understanding of the decisive significance of the two decisions, strengthen four awarenesses and four competences, and two safeguards. We must keep enhancing our capacity for political judgment, thinking, and implementation, uphold party leadership in every aspect throughout the entire process, and also uphold Comrade Xi Jinping's core positions on the Party Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and act on it throughout the entire process of government works. We will fully advance law-based government administration and strictly abide by the Constitution and laws. Receive the oversight of the CPPCC and MPC at all levels, as well as social oversight. We also need to strengthen deliberations and the law-based decision-making. We will also support trade unions, community youth, women's federations, other people's organizations in better fulfilling their roles. Also, we need to make sure that all of us in the government must observe disciplines and abide by the law, cultivate ethical and moral character, fulfill our responsibilities diligently, and work for the people with honesty and integrity. We will improve the government performance across the board, implement decisions and plans of the Party Central Committee, act on the principle of the government's ability for implementation and credibility, and transform the government functions. We will also need to strengthen our work and make sure that all of our work are keeping in line with the Party Central Committee's decisions and intentions. We will also need to improve the government service level and reduce the burden for the primary level governments and enterprises, take down formalities and bureaucratism. We will delegate and enterprise work hard and take solid steps to perform and excel in order to meet the people's expectations. Fellow deputies, we will, with a focus on forging a strong sense of community for the Chinese nation, uphold and improve the system of regional ethnic autonomy, promote interaction, exchange, and integration among ethnic groups, and speed up the modernization drive in economic minority regions, and also strengthen the work related to overseas Chinese and protect the lawful rights and interests of the Chinese national abroad. and dedicate themselves to national rejuvenation. Last year, we made new achievement and progress in national defense and military development. Our People's Armed Forces fulfilled their missions and tasks with impressive results. This year, we will continue to implement Xi Jinping thinking on strengthening the military and the military strategy for a new era. We will remain committed to the party's absolute leadership over the People's Armed Forces throughout implement the system of ultimate responsibility, resettling with the chairman of the Central Military Commission, and take critical steps to meet the centenary goal of the PLA. We will strengthen all-round military training and combat readiness, and develop as the 14th five-year plan for the PLA and speed up the implementation of major defense-related projects. The government should support the building of the PLA and the military construction and strengthen unity. We will continue to fully, faithfully, and resolutely implement the policy of one country, two systems, under which the people of Hong Kong administer Hong Kong and people of Macau administer Macau with a high degree of autonomy, remain committed to the law-based governance in Hong Kong and Macau, and ensure that Hong Kong and Macau are administered by patriots. We support Hong Kong and Macau in growing their economies, improve the life of the people, and participate in the development of China's overall development, and maintain long-term prosperity and stability. We will implement our party's overall policy for the new era on resolving the Taiwan question, stay committed to the One China principle and the 1992 consensus, and resolutely oppose separatist activities aimed at Taiwan independence, promote the peaceful development of cross-strait relations, and firmly advance the cause of China's reunification, uphold the fundamental interests of the Chinese nation, and we will work with our compatriots and for both sides work together to realize the glorious cause of national rejuvenation. We will stay committed to implement the foreign policy, peace, and development. We remain firm in pursuing strategy of opening up of mutual benefit, call for an equal and orderly multipolar world, and China will remain firm in opposing all hegemony and ready to pursue global development initiative, global security initiative, and global civilization initiative. And with other members of the international communities, we will be promoting the shared value of humanities and build a human community with a shared future for futures. Fellow deputies, a historical mission lies ahead of us. Let us rally more closely around the CPC Central Committee with Comrade Xi Jinping at its core, hold high the greater banner of socialism with Chinese characteristics, and follow the guidance of Xi Jinping's thoughts on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era. Let us forge ahead in full confidence and a pioneering spirit that accomplish the objectives and tasks for this year's economic and social development. Let us strive to build a greater country and advance national rejuvenation on all fronts through Chinese modernization.
Okay, there we go. We just heard there from the Chinese premier at the Great Hall of the People outlining this year's work report, the targets, how they plan to get there, and various, of course, initiatives and priorities of the government. Let's get initial reaction as well out of David Li Daokui here, Director of the Academic Center for Chinese Economic Practice and Thinking at Tsinghua University. He's also former CPPCC member and PBO's advisor, and also the author of this book, China's Worldview, Demystifying China to Prevent Global Conflict. A perfect guest, really, to talk us to all these key topics right now. Professor Li, thank you for sticking around, and I know we've made you wait there for the better part of the last hour or so. Is there anything that stood out to you from the Premier's speech?
Well, frankly speaking, I read the draft of the report about 1 month ago because in China, there's a long process of what we call consultation or democracy before the release of the report. A large number of experts were consulted. So I was among the large number of experts. In fact, I had a chance to meet the premier himself 1 month before, just last month, before today's report. So the thing standing out to me is that there will be, I think, a pretty aggressive economic target that is 5%. Please notice that 5% this year, 2024, is much more than 5% of last year because the base year was different. The last year's base year was 2022, was a very slow year, okay? So that's the first thing standing out. The other thing standing out is a pretty aggressive approach to stabilize local government debt. Okay, so much more increase to something almost 4 trillion RMB new debt by the central government issue to support local debt. And also it mentioned that it will find a way to stabilize the financial system, including the developers' financing. And also in the report, it emphasizes the importance of domestic demand in various ways, although it doesn't use the language of what we say domestic demand. So all these things I think are very important for us to notice as investors.
Yeah, it's a good point you mentioned about the special local government bonds of nearly 4 trillion renminbi. You add the 1 trillion of treasury bonds that they also announced as well. So that 3% budget deficit may not look as low as what we're talking about right now, Professor. I'm just wondering, are those three things aligned? Does it set the stage for China to achieve that around 5% growth? Or are we going to see more adjustments later on this year?
It's likely. It's very, very good question. It's very likely for the government to pile up more policies when the year goes along in order to reach the 5% target. Why? Because, as I mentioned before, you have to combine this government workshop with another report to get the whole picture. The other report is the last December's Central Government Work Conference. That Central Government Work Conference actually, arguably, is more important than this government report in terms of economic policies, because the Central Government Work Economic Conference said very clearly that 2024 will be a year to speed up economic growth. It even used the language which was not used for the past 30 years, that is economic growth is the bottom line. In enterprise, what do you say? The profit is bottom line, correct? We often say the bottom line is profit. Yeah. But in China, right, the government says economic growth is the bottom line. Of course, I'm a bit simplifying. There's a little bit modifications before and after the word economic growth. That means high quality growth in new era, whatever. So put in a simple language, economic growth is the bottom line. So in order to reach 5%, more policies might be pushed out if necessary.
Professor Li, with economic growth, to your point, usually that comes with inflation coming back, and the inflation target for the year at 3% is way above where we are currently at just near zero on consumer price inflation. Do you think they can achieve that target of 3% inflation?
Well, the 3% inflation target actually is a target of constraint. It actually implies in the report that the CPI should not go above 3%, rather than trying to reach CPI to be around 3%. Okay, so but you mentioned a very important point, that is overall the Chinese economy is too cool, too cold, almost the opposite of the U.S. economy. So the government is finding many ways to speed up the domestic demand, including what they call urban revitalization. That is to demolish old buildings and build new ones, including making investments in new energy supply, green energy supply, the power, the solar panels, the windmills, and the various energy programs, so on and so forth. So actually, you are pointing at an area the government is trying to work. They're trying to crank up the economic demand to make the economy warmer. Okay, almost the opposite of the U.S. economy. It's very interesting. The two economies, the Chinese economy, the U.S. economy, are always running on the opposite cycles. Whatever reason, the opposite cycles. Today's situation, arguably, the U.S. economy is a little bit overheated.
You mentioned about these new energy. The new key word seems to be, David, new productive forces, new growth drivers to kind of help lead this recovery, whether it's in EVs, batteries, biotech, chips, advanced manufacturing. This is coming at a time when the economy is struggling, though. Local governments are drowning in debt. Does the government have the resources to see this sort of process through? Because these are quite long return cycles when you talk about AI, high chip manufacturing, for example.
Yeah, another very good question. Okay, when they say new type of technology or economic productivity growth, they are talking about trying to promote private investors to get into these areas. And these are the areas of new energy, new materials, AI, and telecommunication, new materials, so on and so forth. So the underlying policies are policies to promote private investments rather than government investment into these new areas.
What else do you think is missing from the current policy mix?
Well, from my perspective as an economist, I say this very openly, and also say this to the two policymakers, including our premier, before the report. That is, China needs more and more explicit, more aggressive policies to promote consumption. So I've been proposing a policy to directly subsidize consumption. So, for example, in the coming May, we have a May break for 7 days or 10 days, long holiday for the nationwide. I propose that the central government roll out 1 trillion RMB to co-pay consumers' consumption. Just like in the U.S., when you go to a hospital, your insurance company co-pay your medical bill. So I propose the central government co-pay consumers pay expenditure in order to stimulate consumption. Consumption, I think, to me, is the weakest link of the Chinese economy. Frankly speaking, I'm not too concerned about China's increase of productivity. Yes, China is not catching up with the U.S. in AI, and China is not doing exciting things like NVIDIA, the computer chips. However, let's keep in mind, China has a tremendous production capacity in electrical vehicles, in solar panels, in batteries, in electrical motors, whatever you mention, all areas except for the high-tech sectors, China is facing a problem of oversupply of production capacity. What China needs is to promote consumption, and the households do have money. Unlike the U.S. households, Chinese households typically save a lot. So it takes central government actions to induce more and more consumers to spend money. When they spend more money, the companies will get more cash flows and more profit, and then the more jobs. So the cycle will restart. Okay, so that's my perspective.
And part of that consumption story, of course, is what we're seeing in the property market. And some of the policies that we've seen so far, Professor, I have to get your take, whether it's lowering mortgage rates, lending whitelists that we've seen. Have we seen enough to at least stabilize the market in the near term?
Not enough. More policies, I believe, will be rolled out by local governments. Remember, it's the local governments who are controlling the demand or the purchasing of properties. Many cities, including cities of Shanghai and Beijing, are still prohibiting people like you, if you come to China, to buy property, right? So I have been arguing that all these restrictions on property purchasing should be eliminated. Okay, so I strongly believe, that these policies are forthcoming a bit by bit, gradually. There are many technical details. So all these technical details preventing people to buy property are being released, are being lifted. Okay, so these are the things I think very important to watch. Also, I predict that property developers are being helped. Okay, in recent weeks, you reported at Bloomberg, you reported lots of things. Property developers getting into default with the debtors in Hong Kong. But I believe the central government will very soon put together a program to stabilize the financing of property developers, so that the panic will not spread, so that time cure the inventory of property. Time is on the still, I think, developer side. Give them 1 or 2 years, the inventory will be sold.
David, first, thank you so much for following Bloomberg, of course, and our reporting on property. A final question for you, and I want you to talk about the synopsis of your book juxtapose this against the reality where we have U.S. elections coming up. That's number one. Number two, we heard, of course, unexpectedly so, that China is opposing any separatist movement out of Taiwan, number two. And number three, defense spending, the budget's out, 7.2% increase this year. How do we demystify the China story to prevent a global conflict?
Well, the key thing is to know that the Chinese political system has its own internal logic for working. Okay, it's not a system of the former Soviet Union. It's not a system of countries that oftentimes you call communist countries. Instead, the Chinese political system has its own logic built on 2,000 years of bureaucracy. Okay, so for example, this government work report, okay, released today, announced in the Great Wall of the People, actually was circulated among a large number of people. I would easily see 2,000 people, okay, experts, to get opinions. And also the Chinese decision-making process, especially when it comes to personnel, is also very sophisticated. In other words, in order to promote a person to a key position, many rounds of consultation have been done, and also the person in key position have to rotate through many jobs. So all these things, I want to say that Chinese social political system is a very pragmatic. Is a very pragmatic, stabilizing, and internally consistent one. Okay, so we discuss policies. You have to keep this in mind.
David, we have to leave it there. David Li Daokui there, thank you so much. Director of the Academic Center for China Economic Practice and Thinking at Tsinghua University. Appreciate the time, sir. We're saying that when it comes to markets, there is a little bit of a sense of disappointment when you take a look at post, of course, this work report. The CSI 300, though, we are still seeing some green on the onshore market. Hong Kong is seeing a different story. You are seeing some broad declines when it comes to the HSI, HS Tech, the like here. So there was sense that maybe, yes, that growth target of around 5%, yes, that was expected. Nothing too new in terms of what we heard from that work report, except for maybe that ultra-long issuance of bonds. Yep. That was a bit of a surprise here and bigger than expected. And then this new slogan that we're hearing about, right? Houses are for living and not for speculation. That line has been omitted for the first time in a while.
From the reports since 2019, for several years right now. So we're looking at a couple of sectors. So sector-specific, chips and defense stocks. Some chip stocks were up. Defense spending, we talked about that, 7.2% to be more specific there. So these are some of your bright spots across this market. Flip the board to new productive sectors. Keep and remember this phrase. We'll keep referring to this, I would imagine, over the next months, if not years or so. So everything from EVs, of course, AI, smart manufacturing, the new pillars of growth and developing such. And as Yvonne is pointing out very, very quickly, a glance at property stocks after the report omitting that housing is for living and not speculative, which is relatively a shift in tone and attitude as it pertains, of course, to boosting the beleaguered property sector. All right, plenty more ahead. This is Bloomberg.
AES is the largest seller of renewable energy to corporations in the world. We've been an innovator in bringing new technologies to the sector, such as lithium-ion batteries for grid stability. AES invented the 24/7 hourly match renewable product, but this ensures that the energy they're actually consuming is renewable. We need a partner like Wells Fargo that's creative and willing to work with us to find new ways to satisfy our needs.
The world needs ways to reduce carbon emissions.